Okay, so let's start with some of the positives of the SC3. It comes with a couple of gimmicks, some of which are really good. If I go ahead and activate this, you can see that there are voice changes. Now, I think this is going to be the main appeal for people getting into this. You're not paying out for loads of subscriptions and things like voice mod. You have a couple of cool features built in, which I think people are going to enjoy. So if we go ahead and tap the button, you can see
that my voice magically changes to a deep, masculine, testosterone-fueled voice.
Then we can go a little bit feminine, and I feel so cute.
Tap that one and we are a robot. Tap again and we are a monster.
Then this is gonna be my favorite one. I think I did so cute. I feel like Alvin in a chipmunk's stomach.
I'm gonna tap it one more time and we have a nice, deep, narrating voice. Hold it and you will turn off
all of the voice effects and be back to your normal tone. Then you have the custom buttons, which essentially just record a sample of your voice. So if we hold it down, oh, hell no. Then what we can do is tap the button again. Oh, hell no. Like so, and it will play back whatever you recorded. Now, I think there's probably a way to hook this up to OBS or something like that, play some kind of audio through your PC, and then you have all of your sound effects and stuff on there. But it's a little bit weird, the way that you have to do it and the fact that you can only really use your voice without messing around with the settings and trying to do some technical stuff. And that's where my complaints kind of kick in, but we'll get there in a second. For now, we have the electric effect, which essentially just keeps your voice set to a specific tune, a key, and I'm not going to start singing because I will absolutely petrify you, but if I just give you a note, ooh, see how it kind of holds that? Hold it and deactivate it. I'm not going to punish you. I'm not going to torture your ears by making you listen to my singing, but that's what that does. If you're a singer, could be useful for you. Then there's two other features, one of which is the 48 volt phantom power, which I don't need because I'm using FIFINE's K688. That just works by itself, but if you're using something a little bit more expensive like the Shure SM7B, then that 48 volt power will come in handy. And then you have all the faders and the buttons over here. So this one is your output. This is what's going to be going through your speakers. This one is going to be to your headphones. I think that one controls your headset. Pretty damn cool. Maybe you could use that for voice calls and stuff like that, phone calls. And then of course this one over here is the microphone fader, and then at the bottom you have options to mute each of these, and then you have the option to monitor your microphone. So now I can't hear anything through my headset, and now I can, which is pretty sweet. And there we go. That's pretty much all of the main features of the SC3, or the gimmicks that people are going to be attracted to when considering this microphone. I will say that there is one other little thing that you may not actually recognize, and it's something that I have been doing wrong throughout this video deliberately, by the way, but also it's something that you wouldn't really think about. See, on the back of the SC3, there is a little toggle, a little switch that changes the way your microphone sounds, whether it goes through a condenser format or whether it goes through dynamic. I am an imbecile, and I wanted to demonstrate this because if we go ahead and switch from condenser to dynamic, the trick is finding the switch. There we go. So you are now going to be able to hear my voice a lot louder. I'm pretty much constantly peaking, and you can hear that static in the background. That is something we're going to address in a minute, but for now I actually need to go ahead and turn some of these down. So the microphone faders can probably drop all the way down here to about 20-25%, maybe a little bit more actually. I'll say about here. And then we can turn the monitoring down a little bit as well, like so. Now that was my main complaint when I reviewed FIFINE's AM8. I said that things were so quiet through XLR, and I didn't realize that that would actually have such a big impact, just that little switch on the back. So if you decide to get this mixer, make sure that you have the right setting for your microphone flicked on the back of this mixer itself. But you hear that static? Now this is something, maybe it's related to my cables. I have tried switching them out constantly. I have tried flicking from device to device, and I can't seem to get rid of it. I genuinely believe that this may be a defective model, or perhaps some of my cables somewhere are going to be damaged or old. Like I said, I've tried switching them out. I cannot get rid of the static. It is so annoying. And you probably can't notice it that much unless you're wearing headphones or you're used to working with a really good audio quality. But for me, it's so annoying, and I just can't figure out how to get rid of it. This could just be my device in particular, but keep it in mind. So now that I've got the audio levels pretty much the same, let's see if you can hear a difference from the XLR to the USB. I'm currently recording both simultaneously using the FIFINE K688, right? So right now, this is XLR audio. We're going to switch over to USB-C, and let's see if you can hear a difference between the two. I personally can't notice that much. I think the static kind of goes away strangely when I use the USB-C, but it's not a dramatic difference. You wouldn't think, oh, I need to pay an extra 50 quid to be able to get that much of an improvement. maybe that's just me. Maybe it's subjective. I'll let you decide that. There's also the build quality of this device and the faders. They just feel so cheap. They're just little plastic things and they wobble everywhere. There's not really any traction going up or down. The lights over here that indicate your input and your output, it just doesn't help because there's no real peaking notice. They flicker and they look cool. It's the same as the RGBs. The buttons are super low quality. They're squishy and sometimes they're kind of hard to press. Like if I wanted to play a sample, I can't just doof, 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 doof. I have to like properly sample and say, yo, stab it like that. And the fact that the SC3 is marketed towards gamers and live streamers and content creators and yet comes with no actual functionality that is really going to serve those people, I find it kind of annoying. If it was just a bog standard mixer that didn't have any thrills or features, I would understand that. But the fact that it is like, okay, so you're recording, you're live streaming, you're gaming, this is really going to help you, you should invest into it. It doesn't help me. It doesn't have any functions that I would consider useful. If I could assign the custom buttons to specific sound effects, even just in a folder on Windows that just played the sound effect when I press the button, that would be useful. If I could tap those buttons and it would play a little background track, that would be useful. If I could make custom voice effects and assign those to the custom buttons, that would be great. But I can't. So I think ultimately, when you take down all of these blockades and you look at the device just as it is, the question is, what is the purpose of it? What benefit do you get from owning this mixer? And the answer is XLR. That's it. If you have a microphone like this, the Fifine K688, you have audio monitoring, you have a really good audio quality through USB-C. You don't need the mixer. If you want the voice effects, you can just download Voice Mod on your PC and it will apply all of those for you. And there's so much more than what the mixer offers. Even if you went for a device like the Elgato Wave 3, which is nearly double the price, bear in mind, you get all of those features. You get the audio monitoring, you get the USB-C audio, really good quality, and these are very comparable in terms of just raw quality, but with that extra price, you also get access to all of Elgato's software and the EQ stuff, things that this mixer should let you do, but doesn't. So what is the purpose of the mixer? If you can do everything with just this device now, how is the mixer going to benefit me as a gamer or a streamer or a creator? It doesn't really. It's nice to have all my cables and stuff going in one end, but am I going to be going through the extra effort of having a whole XLR setup when I can just do everything through one single device and one single cable? I don't think so. Hey, it's me from the future. I'm recording this at nearly 3 o'clock in the morning. I've nearly finished editing the video. And I've got to say, after sitting here for like 2.5 hours listening to this audio and doing comparisons in my head, I did some test stuff beforehand, but it's different when you sit down and you've got a big amount of footage to get through. I felt like I had to just jump on with a little segment, a minute or two long, to add some final thoughts. Because having been in that position now where I've had to listen to the audio properly and I've noticed all the tiny imperfections caused by the mixer, I honestly have to change my stance on this and say that I can't recommend it. The whole consensus for the video was simply the fact that the mixer is a cheap XLR solution which you'll eventually upgrade, but it does the job, right? If you have an XLR mic and you want to be able to use it, this is what you need. That was the idea for the video. The gimmicks, like the voice changes and the little buttons and all the rest of it, that was just an add-on, right? It's obvious that is not a professional standard, but it could be great if you're early into production or content creation. However, after listening to this device, like I said, for a long period of time, not only do you have the static that is caused by the XLR, and I have tried switching cables, I have tried lowering the microphone volume and the gain, I've tried bringing it up, I've tried different XLR cables, headphone cables, I've tried comparisons between the SC3 mixer and my Scarlett Focusrite. The issue is the mixer, and there's no two ways about that. Maybe it's a defective model, maybe the one that they sent me isn't up to scratch, but given my experience, I can't then tell you to go and buy one in good faith because you may experience the same issues that I have. And then there's also these weird cracking and popping noises that happen sporadically throughout the video, and I originally thought that that was peaking, my microphone peaking, right? And it's not, it's the mixer. To demonstrate this really quickly, because I feel like this video is going on far too long as it is, here is an example of the XLR audio. And here's an example of the USB-C. both recorded at the exact same time. The USB-C doesn't have that static. The popping and the cracking and the random little annoying noises. Here is a segment shot on XLR through the mixer. Maybe a little bit more actually, I'd say about here, unless you're actually in a position. And here is that same segment on USB-C. Maybe a little bit more actually, I'd say about here, unless you're actually in a position. Do you understand where I'm going with this? The whole premise of this video of saying this is a budget XLR mixer, if you have an XLR microphone, you can use it. That is true, it does do that, but based on my experience and the audio recordings I've shared with you, you can then hear it doesn't just let you plug your XLR device in and play. It damages the audio based on my recordings and the way that I've got this thing set up. And that really, really sucks. Because even if this was a £50 device to get you started into the world of XLR, that would be great. But the fact that you have to deal with all these other side effects, that doesn't really sit well with me. If anybody's already bought this mixer or you're troubleshooting, whatever, I need to encourage you to leave a comment down below, not for the YouTube algorithm or anything like that, but just to share your experience, because I don't know if the model that they've sent me is just defective. Maybe it was made in a different manufacturing facility, because FiFine's products, the build quality alone is normally 10 times better than this. I just find it so hard to believe that FiFine would be okay creating a product like this. They have been absolute gems to work with. Obviously, they sent me this product to review. I'm in a position where I can be completely open and honest about it. I'm just finding it really hard at the moment to think of an actual use case for this device that isn't going to come with any issues. And I have tried as much as I can to mitigate these issues, find solutions, and I can't do it. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I did have a whole different outro prepped, but essentially, if you're looking at getting this device and you need an XLR solution, consider it, but just be aware of all the issues that I've spoken about today. Look at some other reviews, other people talking about this device, because I haven't seen anybody talk about the static and the popping and the cracking and stuff like that. It could just be my model, but my review, be cautious. But that's it. Anyway, I love your faces. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You're amazingly beautiful, and I will catch you in the next one.